It's a work. I find you well wherever you are. Anyway, so real quick, I do have a couple of stories to share with you, my friends. So the first story, we're going to be looking at South African elections, where the MK party and the ANC are battling it out. Elections are only 2 months away. However, these two political parties are finding themselves embroiled in the courts instead of them, campaigning, luring the votes for themselves, but they're finding themselves in the courts anyway. But before I even go there, did you hear about Senegal? Very, very interesting result coming out from Senegal. They were a 44-year-old young man became the West African's youngest democratically elected president. I'm going to bring you the story a little bit later, but right now, let's get back to the ANC and the MK party. Now they're battling it out. Like we saw on Monday, the ANC announced that they were going to come out on a press conference. However, that press conference did not come out because of the result that came out from the courts. So it means the ANC lost their first court case where they were saying, well, the MK party needs to be deregistered because the way it was registered was illegal. They need to be deregistered. However, the court said, well, no, according to the documents, according to everything, the MK party was registered appropriately and everything is on course. There is nothing that is unlawful in their registration. So ANC was so frustrated with that court verdict, and they said, well, it's okay, but then we're going to move on to another court case whereby we are not going to allow the MK party to use our umkoto wesizwe, So now this is the issue that is in the courts today in Durban High Court, where they're battling it out. They're saying, well, the MK party needs to pay for royalties and for damaging our logo or the logo of the military wing of the ANC, which they were using, through even during the apartheid era. Now the MK party is saying, well, the logo is different, that is the same. We also have the right to use it. Now, the one in green there, this is the Umkhonto weSizwe party logo, and the one in white is the original logo of the party. So if you look at these two, they are similar, but they are different. So the one for the MK party is whereby the spear is just above the waist, and the one for the original MK, is above the what? Is above the head. So this is another thing that they're battling it out. So we don't know. We're just following up on it to see how it's going to be. But I feel like, it is bitter rival there, and you already know that these are estranged brothers. So of course the ANC is not happy about their estranged brother, coming up to fight them like this. They feel personally attacked, by the MK party, especially that is being led by the former president who used to be a member of the ANC himself, that is Jacob Zuma. It makes everything to be very, very sour, for the ANC. However, elections are only 2 months away, you understand? So I think they are really, some focusing, I think they are really panicking, This is what I'm just saying, that maybe they are panicking, like, well, this MK party seems like a lot of people are following it, is gaining momentum. I was following up on this in the posts that were made on social media, where, of course, the MK party is, having a lot of people, you understand. Now that it has been given a green light, that their registration is lawful, therefore now they're very, very much official, they're now going out there, So, and then we also saw the MK party again, marching in solidarity with their president, that is Jacob Zuma, having his account, frozen by FNB. That much again, we're following on it. So we're going to see how everything is going to play out there, especially the one regarding the logo. If they're going to be asked to remove this logo, what other logo can they use? And the people are now used to this kind of logo. So everything, we're going to see what the courts are going to say. However, the ANC is saying they need to pay for royalties and for the damages of their original logo. This trademark issue that they're having with the MK party. So we are following on it. So the case is in the Durban High Court there. All right. So now let's get back again to a little bit of Zimbabwe. Now in Zimbabwe, we know that the Pan-African Parliament held its elections. First of all, we saw it being challenged, saying by one legislature from Botswana, saying, well, maybe they shouldn't sit it right now. However, they lost their bid, and of course, we saw the Pan-African Parliament going into the elections. And once again, the Zimbabwean legislature will also, Chief Fortune Charumbira again being re-elected as the PAP president, even though we know at one time, he was contesting with one legislator from Zambia, for who is going to stand there for the Southern African part. Of course, Fortune Charumbira winning and then eventually becoming the president of the Pan-African Parliament there. Okay, now moving forward again, I think this is the time where I need to take you again to, I have to take you back to Senegal. But before we go to Senegal, we state another story again where Malawi has declared a national disaster on the issue of hunger that is affecting its people. Okay, so they've declared a national disaster. We saw Zambia doing the same thing, declaring a state of emergency on hunger and the drought that is happening in their country. Now, Malawi has also come out openly, also declaring it a national disaster. When something is declared a national disaster, it means they now have to, to prioritize food security, to prioritize securing food for the people. So Malawi has also announced that. All right. Now, getting back to the most interesting aspect of our video, because of course we spoke about South Africa, but again, since we are still talking about the elections, we saw what happened in Senegal. Very, very interesting thing. Someone who was very unpopular with the people becoming the president of Senegal is only 44 years of age. Okay, and a lot of people were like, well, this thing could have happened
misery
earlier. It could have inspired some other political parties and this and that, but it's something that is very, very interesting to note there, especially for South Africans who are yet to go and vote, that anything can happen if you just want to vote for the person that you want to vote for, right? So this is what we saw happening in Senegal. And no one ever thought that the president of Senegal one day just be ousted by an opposition party and by a candidate who was never known. By the way, he is only 44 years of age, and he wasn't meant to be the president. The president is there, but he was arrested. Both of them, they were arrested. After being arrested, one of them, who happened to be the president of this party, was convicted. So when you're a convicted person, you cannot stand in as a president. So this political party had to take their vice president, who happens to be this one, to be their president, And then the one who was arrested and convicted said he came out supporting the vice president. And then the vice president went on the elections and won the election. So now the vice president became the president because the one who was supposed to be there was arrested and convicted. So if you are convicted, you cannot be the president. And another thing that you might be very interested in is this young man that you're looking at here was in prison just 10 days before. 10 days before he was elected, he was arrested. You understand? So it's very, very interesting. Senegal is one country also that was going through a lot of situations in terms of corruption, in terms of no progress and anything. So a lot of young people, they're very much inspired. They went out to vote for change. The only thing that they wanted was change, regardless of who was going to be. Even if it was going to be any person standing in against the ruling party, in Senegal, still that person was going to win because all they ever wanted was change in their country. They were tired. So a lot of people went out and voted. And he won he won, how can I say, resounding. Okay, he won without doubt. Okay, so some other presidential candidates who are also, competing with him, they had to give up. They said, well, we have lost and we accept that this guy is winning, so they had to give up. And we already know that the elections in Senegal, they came in and they were postponed. A lot of things that were going on there. I think, the ruling party, I think, was panicking in that era, right? So this is when we saw this young man who is only 44 years of age, very unpopular and unknown, because remember, like I said, he was the vice president in the opposition party. You understand? So he was really unknown. The only person who was very popular was the president himself. But because the president was arrested, and convicted during this time of elections, he couldn't stand as the face of the party and he couldn't stand as the president. So, like I said, they had to take the vice president of that opposition party to be their president. Now, there's a speech that he made that is going viral on social media where a lot of people, are listening to it and they love what he said. So I am going to play for you part of the speech of the new president of Senegal, which is going viral on social media, which is making him to be very popular from many other people. So let me just play for you part of it, okay?
Human trafficking, colonization, and neocolonization have caused immeasurable suffering. It's time to put an end to this cycle of oppression. It's high time for France to leave us alone. It's time for France to take a cue from its European neighbors and learn a valuable lesson in independence. Germany is the leading economic power in Europe, significantly surpassing France, which is ranked as the third or fourth largest economic power globally. Germany does not exploit any country, any colony. I can mention Italy, I can mention Spain, who had colonies before, but who do not exploit anyone, who do not interfere, who do not impose leaders in their former colonies. On what grounds does France believe it can continue to impose leaders on us and make choices on our behalf? This must come to an end. And the emerging Africa, the African youth, the African elites, and the African diaspora all stand united in saying no, it cannot continue any longer. France's hypocrisy is evident and pervasive in daily life. Let's examine the cases of Mali and Chad as prime examples of this hypocrisy. In Chad, where the constitutional process has been interrupted, France applauded and its president visited to officially consecrate the new king's coronation ceremony. In Mali, where it is not the constitutional process that has been interrupted, but transition process, France has condemned and even packed up its things to say that it is leaving Mali. That's hypocrisy. It's the double standard. It is the double language that France employs in its dealings with Africa. During our questioning of Mr. Jean-Yves Le Drian regarding the situation in Ivory Coast and France's decision to allow a third term, he provided a clear explanation. He stated that while he accepted the third term for Ouattara, he refuses it for Belarus. He emphasized that France has condemned the situation in Belarus and has actively encouraged the European Union to do the same. Le Drian explains that in Belarus, millions protested, unlike Ivory Coast, where there were no mass demonstrations on the streets. This is how France deals with African issues. Personally, we expect absolutely nothing from France. We desire her to cease meddling in our matters so that the people of Senegal can exercise their freedom of choice rather than being influenced by France's selection of a candidate using the tactics we are aware of. We begin by targeting individuals, adorning them with the Legion of Honor or a similar knightly rank, enlisting them in Masonic lodges, and informing them to prepare themselves as they will be next in line. Even the hypothesis that Macky Sall may not succeed, we know who is being prepared by France. This must come to an end. It will not occur in this manner any longer. Let's be clear. We have absolutely nothing against the French people. In France, both political and citizen voices are rising to hold and express the same discourse as the one I'm currently presenting to you. For example, the deputies, such as Mrs. Frédérique Dumas, who regularly speaks on the platform of the Assembly, who regularly writes to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, since she is a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, to raise this unfair behavior of France towards Africa, hold the same speech as us. The same Mr. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, Jean-Paul Lecoq, André Chassaigne.
Okay, so this is the new president of Senegal, that is Bassirou Diomaye Faye, a very, very young man who happens now to be the youngest West Africans democratically, elected president there. This speech is going very, a lot of people are admiring him, and they're saying, well, these are some lessons that a lot of people can take. I was on X, following all the comments, but I don't know, for some reason, people were tagging Zimbabwe. And like I said, I'm no longer into that part of talking about Zimbabwean politics. However, I'm just going to make reference to what was being said on X regarding the election of the youngest president there. They're saying most of the people who voted were the youth. The youth, because they're tired, they're like, well, everybody needs to go out and vote. Whoever is going to be in the opposition of the one who is there, the president who was there, that is Macky Sall, said we have to vote him out. So they went all out and voted, and he won. There is no amount of rigging that could happen and succeed in the kind of voting that happened in Senegal, okay, to the extent that the results were never even opposed, you understand? The results were never even opposed, even after the announcement, everything just, came out like that, you understand? Even some other opposition leaders conceding defeat, you understand, even before the results were completely, accounted, they had already considered defeat, saying, well, the young man has won, so be it. So this is all we have, in terms of Senegal. I've spoken about South Africa, where we are currently focusing on the issue of ANC and the MK party. They're going back and forth 2 months before the elections. It's like super, super crazy there, you understand? And then we have spoken about Malawi drought. We have also spoken about, the PAP presidents. And, we can talk and talk. There are so many other stories. So right now, I am just going to leave you guys, because I could have, there are so many other stories that I wanted to talk about. But I think at this moment, I just have to leave it there. Like I said in my previous video, Zambia is battling a pink eye or conjunctivitis. A pink eye can be, it's spreading rapidly in Zambia. More than 1,500 people have it, especially the young children and the young people. They have that pink eye. So you also have to be on the watch out, as you know that SADC is just people crossing borders and traveling around. So just be on the watch out for the pink eye. It's not dangerous per se. It doesn't affect your eyesight per se, no. But your eyes will be very, very red. You understand? Your eyes will be so, so red. You understand? So anyway, this is all I have for you, like right now, and I'm gonna be back again with more and more updates. So as of now, I'm going to have to leave you. You can watch the video one more time, and I'm going to bring you a clearer video of what I have spoken about right now. I'm going to give you a clearer video. I'm thinking like maybe I could have missed some other things, or maybe I could have been speaking, a little bit faster, or the network wasn't on our side. So because of all that, I will have to come back again with another story. Until then, take care. Let's see what is going on there. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. A minute. Oh, the network is really going bad. So anyway, let me just leave you guys. I'm going to, if the video wasn't clear enough, I'm going to have to, I will have to redo it. So I'm going to stop the video right now. We are done, and I have to watch the video. If it's okay, then I'm not going to reshare the news. If it's not okay, then I'm going to reshare again, because I'm afraid, StreamYard has got some problems with network sometimes. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do right now. I have to leave you guys. I need to do some one or two things, then I'll be back again. Much love and goodbye. Let's see, what am I going to do now? Let's see. Okay. I can just remove myself.
Thank you.